Morning, February the 15th, about 11 o'clock. Day got a little screwed up. Client decided that they didn't want to have a job done. Guess the money just wasn't good enough for him, a log job. So, oh well, such is life, you know. Ended up going to the log yard and cutting some logs to get sent out to the mill. It's a bit messy right now. Usually springtime comes around and, you know, we clean her right up and it ain't so bad. I gotta get better at doing the angles on this here phone because, well, it just doesn't quite get the lighting right all the time, I guess. Well, I'm gonna talk a little bit about saws for once instead of just yakking about my own baloney. A couple weeks ago, we had a couple equipment failures. Had some saws go down. We were short on productive power heads. We had small power heads, but nothing that was what I consider logwoods worthy for harvesting timber. And got a smoking deal on a brand new power head. The business bought this. This is not my saw. This is the business's. The folks I work with. It is a 372 XP Husqvarna. Brandy new. Check that sucker out. Got the big Oregon 28-inch on there. Some people think that 70cc saws shouldn't run a 28-inch. And I think that's fine if you think that. But I don't think that way. Thing's 14.7 or 14.6 dry or so, they claim. And then you add fluids and a bar and a chain. And it approaches, you know, 20 pounds pretty quickly. And I don't know if I want to haul anything heavier around than that if I don't have to. You know? I've been honestly impressed with it. I've never owned a brand new anything. Especially a brand new Husky. The X torque is surprising. It really does have a surprising amount of torque for the package that you're getting. I feel like it's stronger out of the box than any of the 460s I've had out of the box. You know, I haven't had a chance to own a 461 yet, which is fine. I don't know if I will. I got a really good deal on this for the business, and they weren't willing to do deals on steels, unfortunately. The cost out the door for a 461 was almost twice what the cost of the 372 was. And you wonder why steel sales in this area have been declining. But in any case, more about the saw itself. I really like it. The anti-vibe is fantastic. It really is. The anti-vibe is great. It positively pisses oil. I don't cuss often, but damn it, does it oil. It oils real good. And that's important if you want your bars to last, or if you're harvesting, you know, if you're harvesting tacky softwood. Gotta straighten my mustache out there. I'm very impressed with it. It's incredibly smooth. I equate chainsaws like I do, or relate chainsaws like I do, to motorcycles. A steel is expensive. They were older designs until recently, you know, with a 661 or 461 and all the new stuff coming out. They're like a Harley. But the Husky, it's like a Japanese motorcycle. Costs less, cheaper to fix, or so it seems. And it is smooth like a 4-cylinder bike. I love it. And when it's at operating speed, I can't feel anything. And that's important because, well, to me, because I busted up my hands a bunch. And the the air filtration, I tell you what, Husqvarna, you guys have done a nice job, because I have been working this saw. I've actually had this saw for, I want to say 3 weeks. Time flies, you know. Time flies when you're trying to be productive. I've had this saw for 3 weeks. I might have banged the air filter out here and there, but this is what it looks like. It is not full of crap like an HD2 filter gets. It's just that simple. Yeah, there's some stuff in the pleats. I'm not going to lie to you. You probably can't even see very well the garbage that is in there. But there is a little bit of stuff in there. But by and large, it doesn't get nearly as dirty as an HD2 does. Liking it. I'm liking it. Not gonna lie. The first larger Husqvarna I've owned since, well, aside from the 2071, which is in the shop getting an oil pump right now, because it wasn't excited about oiling, apparently. But it's getting a new oiler. I'm waiting on that. Maybe take a quick look at this chain. This chain is really very aggressive. It takes a strong saw to pull the grind on this chain well. It's 25-degree top plate. It's what I commonly run. I don't see a need for anything else. I think that you square them off anymore and you lose cutting speed, and if you sharpen your angle anymore, then the tip becomes more frail. And if you're going to have a frail leading edge or cutting edge, then you might as well just use square grind, which is going to cut faster anyways. But we'll take a quick look-see at what this chain looks like. The rakers are down, and they're technically not filed correctly. They're filed flat. Manufacturer wants you to file them kind of from the front, so they when the tooth rocks, it gets a correct cutting depth. But nonetheless, I did not do this. It's just I don't always have the time in the woods being productive. Sometimes I get to bring, the skidder's going to be around me, and I can bring some extra chains and toss them in the skidder so I don't have to carry them around all day. But when you're lugging equipment around all day, every pound, every ounce matters, because you get worn out real quick, especially on days like today where so happens to be about 50 degrees already, Well, in any case, gonna look at some chain action. Yeah, that bad Larry's got a pretty deep gullet, nice hook. They're not punched all the way down, but you'll notice that they're pretty flat to the floor. What I refer to as the floor, almost to the drive link itself. And the rakers are, they're flatter. They're flat. I actually used I'm really just cutting softwood for the most part, so I don't get too finicky about my raker depth. I've actually been using a 50 thousandths raker gauge. That works pretty good. It works especially good, and you can still bore with it if you don't get greedy with taking your gullets down. Some of these gullets are, well, they're down there a little bit. Got some nice curvature going on. That makes a fast cutting round file chain. It also makes it very grabby, and will yank the saw into the wood. And if you're slashing brush, then it can fling debris at you, which is not safe. You really should be wearing eye protection and hearing protection and your chaps. I say it all the time, but it's because I mean it. I've seen people be maimed. I've seen people be maimed by saws and equipment, and by not being safe and not being careful, or not knowing how to file a chain and use a chainsaw correctly. You can make the chain as aggressive as you like if you're cutting conventionally, and you know that you're cutting conventionally all day. But you don't want to make it super aggressive if you're going to be doing any bore cuts, or if you're cutting hardwood. It's not safe. Your saw gets aggressive and gets jumpy and can kick back and can hurt you. Kickback is a real thing. Not everybody gets to experience it, but kickback is a real thing. I've been fortunate enough to where I have the same pair of chaps that I've been wearing for the past 5 or 6 years, and there isn't a single cut in them. I've been very fortunate. I haven't been injured. I use my head when I work. It's important for you to use your head too when you work out in the woods. You should never be alone working out in the woods if you can help it, especially if you're deep in the bush. Be safe. I got a family to go home to. I don't know if you do, but I do. I got a baby I gotta feed, and a wife I gotta take care of. And it looks like somebody's coming in.